Welcome to Bigfoot Research, the 25th of April, 2013. Still day 4, making sense of the nuts. In a previous video, I had found some nuts left behind on a pylon, and so I decided to take and crack some of the nuts and eat them and so forth, just in case I might be being watched by whoever donated the nuts, that I'd accepted them. This got me to thinking about a little bit about Bigfoot, and so the next part of this video is about me thinking out loud. I'm going to leave the nutshells here so that they can see that I've been eating them. And I've been really giving some thought. They had to have taken these nuts out of their own personal stash, which means, I guess they're trying to trade fair value for what I've been giving them. I've been giving them Snickers bars and Nutty Buddies, and sometimes I left them some pork chops and leftover cuts of meat, from steak and stuff like that. A little research on black walnuts. We find out that you can buy black walnuts in the store that have already been shelled, but buying them in the shell is a whole different story. Black walnuts are not farmed commercially. They are gathered from existing stalks of trees that are basically growing in the wild. And they're very expensive. For black walnuts in the shell, they're about $6 a pound. So thinking about this, why would anybody come walking in from the highway to come into a camp next to mine during the night and leave walnuts on, or black walnuts on the pylons and stump, and then walk back out? There's no way they could have drove in without me seeing and hearing them. They definitely have a sweet tooth, and I guess that's because most everything that they eat here, with the exception of the ripe apples, is probably bitter or sour, or has a strong flavor to it. So I'm thinking that they have a real desire for sweets. Now, one of the reasons why they may have traded me nuts for Nutty Buddies and stuff like that is because these nuts might be getting old. I don't know how long they would keep. So they may be thinking that they need to get rid of them for the new crop when the new crop comes in this fall. But so maybe they have an overabundance of black walnuts. Now, up in the higher elevation, there's black walnut trees everywhere. I mean, tons of them. And so it wouldn't be much of an effort for them to gather up tons of black walnuts and possibly store them in a cave or so. Now, my son went inside of one cave and he said it looked like a footprint on the ground, and right next to it was all kinds of cracked black walnut shells. So this is where I'm getting my idea that maybe they eat them during the winter, past the time as they're sitting there looking out over the snow and stuff like that, thinking, man, I can hardly wait for spring. So a little possible insight to Bigfoot that most people might not have thought about. We've got to start thinking out of the box. If we're going to start researching these critters, we've got to think outside the box, now to gather information on them, because they're not going to cooperate. They're not going to give you a body to study. They're not going to give up a loved one. So you have to basically infer or deduce the clues as to what their nature is, how they eat, how they survive, what their birth rate is, what their growth rate is, their lifespan, that kind of stuff. So, it's all guesswork right now, but, eventually as you collect the data, more and more data, you might get more and more of a feel for why Bigfoot does what Bigfoot does.